Good day. I'm going to show you today how to make Moira's Marvellous Marmalade. It's a recipe that my mom taught me, and whenever I've made it, people have raved about it. They said, oh, it's the best marmalade they've ever tasted. So I'm going to show you now how to make it. So what I do, and this recipe does, is you need to just have a single layer of fruit, and I normally use 5 oranges, 1 grapefruit, and 1 lemon. And what you need to do is you need to just cut off any blemishes that the oranges or the fruit might have, and put them in cold water to about halfway up the fruit. And then you put the lid on and you begin to boil them. Once you have prepped it, you put it on the oven, put it on the stove top, and then you begin to boil it. And then you take just a normal match, and when the match can go in very easily, you can feel that the skin is soft, then it's done. Now this I have boiled for about 40 minutes, between 30 and 40 minutes, and now you can turn the stove off. So once the whole fruit has cooled down substantially until it's completely cool, what you do is you take the cooked oranges, and now you basically want to cut it into smaller pieces. So this is what I normally do. You don't have to do it like this, but I cut it in half, and then I just cut it into quarters, each half into quarters like so, and then I chop it like this, as finely as I can, into little pieces. So we finish chopping this one. Depends how big or small you like your pieces. I like mine quite chunky. You can make it small if you'd like. Then I put it in here, and while I'm doing that, I actually measure how many pieces of fruit I have, or shall I say how many cups of fruit I have, and then I put the fruit back in the pot, all nicely chopped up. And then we need to add as many cups of sugar as there is of fruit. Now that's a lot of sugar, don't be surprised, but as many cups of sugar as there is fruit. Now at the moment I've got 6 to 7 cups of fruit here, which is more or less average, and so I'm going to add 6 to 7 cups of sugar into this mixture, and then I'm going to begin to boil it. So that's our next stage. So far our marmalade has been cooking for 50 minutes. If you have a look, it's quite a thick mixture with the equal amount of sugar and fruit, and it usually takes between an hour and 2 hours, and you need to judge depending on the amount, but it needs to boil until it needs to boil constantly, but it needs to boil until it goes bloop, 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 bloop. Then you know that it's thick enough and ready. But in the meantime as well, what you want to do with your bottling is you want to have your marmalade stored in glass jars, and it works really well if you have them ready. And what you do is you make sure that they are rinsed in boiling hot water, so they're completely clean. And then once the marmalade's ready, you put the boiling hot marmalade into this boiling hot jar, and you seal it straight away. But I will show you that just now when the marmalade is ready to go. Bloop. So now, if you would like to have a look here, our marmalade is basically done. You can see it's plooping a bit slower, and if you stir it, it's very thick. And this has been going for an hour and a half now, which is probably a little bit more than necessary, but it's totally fine. So now I remove it from the heat, and I have been letting my glass bottles, I've basically been sanitizing them, and they're getting nice and warm. It's been sterilizing them. I was looking for that word. Now, while they're still hot, it's quite important that you get the marmalade in while it's hot, because then it helps. You can leave it on the shelf for months and months and months, and it's totally fine. It never goes off or gets mold. I tend to use a little container, little, what shall we call this, a little scooper, so that I can scoop it out and straight in without getting burnt. It sometimes can be a little bit messy, but we compensate by just washing these cloths afterwards. So I'm going to fill the glass jar. There we go, and then I let it cool for about 20 minutes while I fill all of them. Usually it will fill about 5 to 6 old peanut butter glass jars, and then, so I'm going to do that now, and then we have the last installment just now. Now that I've decanted all the marmalade into the bottles, and this mixture that I made filled exactly 6 peanut butter bottles. And then what we do is, now the bottle is still hot, the marmalade is very hot, it's hot to the touch. Take some wax wrap, you put it on the top while it's still boiling hot, and you seal it. Now that will last in your pantry for many months. And as you're ready for the next one, you take it out, you put it on your toast, and you enjoy it. Delicious. One little thing to end off with, if it's too bitter for you, then just leave the grapefruit out and add an extra orange. But the lemon is very important to put in, because the lemon helps with the congealing of the marmalade. So it's important that you use a lemon, but grapefruit not essential. Otherwise, enjoy Moira's Marvellous Marmalade.